There is always sleep between part and meat, with our usual words on the usual street. So let us part like we always do, and in a world without you, I'll dream of you. When I come to, let us meet with our usual words on the usual street. Okay, good condition. Get rid of the stickers though. Oh, hey everyone, DANIELIEZER here. Don't mind me, I'm just currently sorting through the PS2 collection I have right now. It's always good to reorganize your collection and make sure everything's up to stock. Especially when you're reorganizing your game collection for the millionth time. Alright, Constantine, Lego Star Wars, good. Kingdom Hearts, shoot. Oh no, my Kingdom Hearts 1 copy's gone. Okay, no worries, no worries. I mean, sure, that was the first copy I ever had as a kid, but it's fine. We can just order a new copy on eBay, and oh my goodness. Okay, I guess I can't pay that off because I literally just bought a MetaQuest 3. Without the first Kingdom Hearts game, I mean, what's the point in owning the box? Like, imagine owning a box with no game inside it. We don't have to go out and buy a new game. We could just remember through our memories and recreate Kingdom Hearts 1. Or, you know, we could just play through fucking Chain of Memories. So yeah, it's been a while since I was supposed to talk about every Kingdom Hearts game, but hey, we're finally back on it. So yeah, sorry for the long wait. Hopefully we can try and slowly get back on it, although to be fair, the next game is literally a numbered entry, so it might take a while for that one to come out. But hey, at least we're on the next part of the stepping stones. And also, yeah, no, sorry, there's like been a lot of games that I've seen and I've wanted to cover, and I was like, oh, hey, that could be a good review, and yeah, pretty much it kind of overblown. But anyways, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. After the success of the original Kingdom Hearts, a sequel was in the works, but that would have not happened for the next 4 years. So with the illicit help of Jupiter, they were in charge of working on the next Kingdom Hearts game, and this game would be the one that would tie together both Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2's story, since the original idea for Kingdom Hearts 2's story got so big that Nomura couldn't fit it all into one game, so why not split it off into this spin-off title? A lot of people thought it was a spin-off title, but nope, it was just as important to the Kingdom Hearts lore, so you better make sure you pick up a Game Boy Advance and buy this game, so that you can understand the full lore. Thus, Jupiter was responsible for Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, so everything I just said, that was a complete lie. In reality, it was mostly due to the fact that employees at Square Enix suggested the idea to Nomura to work on a Game Boy Advance title for the Kingdom Hearts series. And that mostly came from a bunch of children, most likely in Japan, I'm going to assume that because, you know, the game's origin stuff, suggesting or dreaming the fact that they want to play the series on the Game Boy Advance. So, yeah. It's actually your fault that Kingdom Hearts 2 took 4 years to come! Jokes aside, I know Jupiter is the one responsible for the GBA title, but they were also in charge of adding things that Nomura wanted to add to this game, as well as pre-rendered videos from the PS2 engine for cutscenes. Or at least for major significant ones. As for how the game was being developed, I'll just share one of the most famous, concept arts for it. That being that the original point of Chain of Memories was supposed to be a sort of turn-based traditional card game, such as this concept sketch being shown right now for what vision they had for it. But of course, the idea was scrapped in favor for a different and new system, which is now used in the modern version we have today. Later on, the game would get shown off at Jump Festa and the Tokyo Game Show in 2003, and then, on November 11th, 2004, and December 7th, same year, the game would finally release in Japan and the US, respectively. But for now, the GBA version is not the focus of today's video, but it still must be acknowledged since, overall, I think this version of the game is at least worth playing, at least for the hour that I played it. So I'm gonna switch this one real quick, as outdated and irrelevant that the Game Boy Advance version is, I still have to acknowledge its existence because it did play a role in, giving the series or this title, its existence. It gave kids the opportunity of playing the series on the go, as well as showing off the Game Boy Advance's potential capability of playing cutscenes at the highest quality possible, at least at the time back then, with its PS2 cutscenes being integrated inside the game itself. Plus, it also shows the capabilities that the series itself can jump to other platforms and not just stick onto PlayStation. I mean, obviously, because the series itself has jumped to Nintendo platforms every time, mostly on handhelds, which is odd at the time, but it was 2010. But heck, now the series is on every single platform, except the Switch, because I'm never going to acknowledge the cloud versions are legit versions for the KH series to go on. But anyways, let's finally talk about Chain of Memories. After Ansem's defeat and leaving Kyra behind, Sora, Donald, and Goofy must work together to find Riku and King Mickey. So they go on a journey, and right in the middle of the night, in the middle of that same grassy field, Sora wakes up, looks to the sky, and then hears the voice of someone. He turns around to find a black coat, similar to the one that we saw back in Hollow Bastion. He goes on to speak about how in order to reclaim what Sora has lost, he must lose something. As they travel, they finally reach the goddamn void and proceed to enter inside this mysterious castle, and thus Chain of Memories begins. Or the console version, Chain of Memories. I see what you did there, you sneaky man. Once we go inside, we meet our mysterious hooded man once again. He then proceeds to go translucent inside of Sora and pulls out a card, one of many that we will encounter. He then goes on to tell us we lost all our powers and to open the door to find anew and lose something, or to lose and find anew. Yeah, no, there's just something to expect from the series. You'll start to hear characters go on with this lingo-ass dialogue. It'll make you ponder, what the fuck do you mean? But might as well break the lingo. He basically just means that this place is designed to make you lose your memories, and that the further you travel along this castle, the more you begin to lose your memories. I know that seems like a little early to spoil that stuff, but don't worry, the gang will realize that in a few moments. Once we go inside with the card that we were given, we find Traverse Town. Anyways, the bad guy explains that this place has been recreated from Sora's memories, and that's all you need to know about 90% of this game's worlds. Anyways, to follow the rest, we then meet up with the Traverse Town gang, we then battle the first Kingdom Hearts boss, and then we get an existential crisis about how Aerith is probably not real, same with their friends, as well as everyone that Sora will probably meet along this journey. Jesus Christ, way to spoil most of it, Aerith. So, to go back what I said about children wanting the chance to play Kingdom Hearts 1 on the go, well, I will say that yes, Jupiter managed to basically put the series on the Game Boy Advance and basically remake the entirety of Kingdom Hearts 1, or at least it's somewhat what it feels like. So much so that when they released it on consoles, it literally just felt like Kingdom Hearts 1 all over again. So at the same time, pretty much every single world in this game is literally just the same characters from the first game, as well as the villains. Everything's all the same plot. Well, okay, not exactly the same plot. Everything just revolves more around memories instead of hearts and darkness and the evil villain gang up from the first game. But yeah, that's basically it. Now on the surface level, that's fine for, like, at the time when the GBA version was being made, you know, make a portable version of Kingdom Hearts. But, I mean, if you're going to come back to this game and, you know, put it on consoles, yeah, no, this just came back to bite them in the ass, when literally 90% of the game's dialogue is just text, and more importantly, most important parts are normally voiced outside of these worlds. So, yeah. As for the game's combat, it basically works like this. The heart of the cards. Okay, I'm kidding now. Basically, every card has a certain number value, including your enemy's cards, and the higher card that's played will take the more priority value. Now, it is easy to counter all the cards by basically playing the zero card, which is more so seen as the wild card, as, yes, it can counter any card, but also any card can counter it, so it's more of a 50-50 thing. And that's most of the basic parts of the combat. Aside from that, you can also move around, so everything in this game is also real-time. So you do have a chance of, instead of just, you know, countering with your cards, you can counter by just dodging, depending on your position. as well as if you're in the right position to get close to your opponent and hit them. Alongside that, there are also slates, where you can combine 3 of your cards into making a giant number value card, so you have a basically proof of more priority. But the more you level up in this game, the more you'll earn slates. Slates are special cards that, depending on the certain number value you have, and cards and or other requirements, can guarantee you special attacks you can use, and which can't be interruptible unless your opponent either plays a higher value card somehow with 3 slates of their own, or, play the 0 card. And most of these are mostly just moves from the previous game, Sonic Blade, Arcanum, but there are some new ones like Elemental Strike Rushes, and a few meta-breaking ones like Temporal Time or Temporal Cut, whatever you want to call it. But we'll come back to that later. And with the obvious RPG format, where basically you find an enemy in the overworld, then you attack them and enter a fighting arena, yeah, it's pretty much an RPG. You enter a little arena to fight them, and you earn some XP, and you're able to move around in the arena, and you can even run away from the fight if you need to pussy out. Throughout the overworld of the map is more so a dungeon crawler, except you have to pick the rooms that you're going to be fighting in. And you can do that thanks to the map cards you get from after winning a battle. So you can choose to have more enemies in a room, or have higher power enemies, aka play higher card enemies. Or you can have rooms that guarantee you yourself boosts, or give you boosts like having more friend cards show up. And as long as you have the right card with the number value, then you should be able to play that card and guarantee you that room. And they can all be organized through 3 colored cards. Red ones giving you more so enemy rooms, green ones giving you more so stat boost moves, and blue ones giving you save points and Moogle shops. Now for the save points, those are obvious, but for the Moogle rooms, they'll be working under a new currency called Moogle Orbs. And those can be earned by basically hitting random objects throughout the entire map. That's a little bit of an issue, but I'll get back to that later. But with the Moogle Orbs you obtain, you can basically buy new cards, and it's more so done in the way of a gacha game. This game was ahead of its time, Jesus. Anyways, you can't earn all types of cards in here, as there are some cards that are locked away behind the story, of course, that you gotta unlock. But as soon as you unlock them, you'll start earning different number values. But of course, it is always random which ones you're gonna get, and normally the game will obviously present the higher number ones as a more rarity, so yeah. But don't worry, the more belts to have, like, more fancier belts, the more, better cards you'll get from it. So yeah, really is just gacha moments. Going back to the battles, Donald and Goofy also do show up, but unlike in the GBA version where their moves are kind of just simple as attacks, well, at least for Goofy gets back his tornado, and Donald just, well, I guess shoots out more magic. But anyways, they can still be pulled out and help out Sora, of course. But the other friend cards you get for along the other worlds that you visited, they'll also be able to help you out as well. My most favorite ones are, I guess, Peter Pan and Aladdin, since those friend cards actually give you Moogle Orbs depending on how many enemies they hit. And that's another issue, which we'll come back to later. You can also use your friend cards in slates as well. My most personal favorite is the one where Donald and Goofy basically work with Sora, and Donald and Sora basically just grab Goofy and they start using him as a freaking whatever the hell this is. I don't know what it's called right now. Battering ram. And that's all I have to say for the combat system and how most of it works. I do have a lot of issues with it, but like I said, we'll come back to it. And as for the other worlds, yeah, they're not at all relevant to the plot, and they could be taken out and nothing would have really changed. Also, Deep Jungle is not even in here because the creator of the movie just, I don't know, he's being all stinky. Anyways, after completing Traverse Town, we meet up again with the Hooded Man, who is accompanied by another man named...
Who am I? Oh, my name's Axel. Got it memorized?
He said the thing!
Shut the fuck up!
Oh.
Anyways, he decides to test us, and our fight with him begins. His whole thing is him being the fire guy, so, we gotta use ice attacks. Trust me, I'm gonna have a revelation later. As well as being able to stop his firewall by using zeros and... yeah, zeros. Anyways, after we beat him, he then comes back and then tells us we're ready to take on Castle Oblivion, and gives us more map cards. He also gives us the most stupidest dialogue I've ever heard.
You have lost sight of the light within the darkness, and it seems that you've forgotten that you forgot.
Like, what the fuck does that mean? You've forgotten that you forgot? The light within the darkness? Like, I know he's trying to screw with us and everything, because I already played the game and stuff, but what the hell? Forrest Gump made more sense with its dialogue. After Axel offers to explain the Kingdom Hearts lore, idiotically Sora refuses, as he leaves. As they reach the next floor, they discuss that maybe they might lose their memories the more they climb up Castle Oblivion. And then they proceed to prove that by forgetting stuff that happened at Hollow Bastion. Anyways, after visiting Wonderland, Goofy discusses about the castle that they went to and trying to remember what it's like and its name. Like, seriously, Goofy, I know you get head trauma, probably, but it's not that hard to remember a place like that. It's literally the place that Sora turned into a Heartless and then came back. It's called, You know what, give me a minute to think on that, and we'll come back to it. Let's continue. After visiting Danny DeVito, Sora and the gang discuss about remembering their most important memories, and that's it. Well, I mean, he does remember Kairi and stuff, but that's not important. We didn't cut to Axel talking with two other characters named Larxene as they discuss their interest in Sora, and how he turned into a Heartless and came back. We learn that they are part of an organization that's trying to discover the mysteries of the heart. After causing a ruckus inside a whale, Sora starts to ponder who that girl was he saw in his memory when he was thinking about Kairi. If you're wondering why I didn't bring it up that much, it's because my damn video player goes by 30 seconds instead of 10 seconds. He starts to remember what she looked like, that she was a girl that had a white dress and blonde hair. He then gets interrupted by Donald and Goofy getting cut off, and we cut to said girl on a drawing sketchpad. We then cut back to the gang on the next floor, and Sora remembers the other girl, except not her name. The others find it a little suspicious that Sora is suddenly remembering this person, but Goofy says not to fret, since most likely Sora will start to remember her the more they go up the castle, since they already are losing their memories. Okay, Goofy, I'm not sure if it's worth remembering my friend Julian from kindergarten, but I like where your optimism is, Goofy. After visiting, whoa, the sound of rolling dice to me is music in the air, cause I love gambling, god damn it, it ain't fair! Sora tries to remember more about this girl, and for what he can recall, she was a quiet person and she was always drawing. Dog, I know 10 people who are like this. After Jimmy freaking Cricket, who's been with us the whole time, I kind of forgot to mention that he comes up with brilliant solutions. He comes up with the idea that we should go along with the bad guys and just forget stuff to remember the true memories that are inside us, except it's only happening to Sora and not Donald and Goofy. I don't think Donald's got forgotten his time in the German army. We cut back to the villains and their robes. Larxene decides it's her turn to screw with Sora. She also reveals how her and Axel and the other guy from the road are all planning to overthrow the organization that we just found out about. After we don't get the lore-accurate Aladdin movie, we come face-to-face with Larxene, and she goes on about revealing true memories and forgetting old memories, and explains the girl Sora's remembering is here in the castle. She then kicks Sora high leg style, like holy shit, that's a kid, causing Sora to lose the lucky charm that the girl gave Sora, remembering. God, fuck. Sorry, I need a second take. Sora loses the lucky charm that the girl that Sora's trying to remember gave him. Sora finally remembers her name as Naminé and is now ready to battle Larxene. And her fight's just, yeah, it's similar to Axel's, but you know, she does lightning stuff, and I mean, it's not that memorable, but there's one that is, and we'll talk about it later. After we beat her, she then gives us more world cards, and Sora is genuinely pissed off, like I've never even seen him like this. We then cut back to the room where the organization's hanging out, and Axel just roasts Larxene, and then we have another member show up named Vexen. Anyways, he's a science guy and is all about ice, and gives us the next world card that we have to give to Sora. We also see that Riku shows up from behind. But now Sora is in a bit of a rush to try and go save Naminé, despite only just remembering her a few floors ago. But hey, it's a friend we can't leave behind. After going under the sea, all my ground attacks don't do shit anymore, under the sea, we find Riku after so long, but something seems different about him. He's more arrogant, more aggressive towards Sora. He talks about how him and Naminé don't want to see his dumb face anymore, and like clockwork, he attacked us. Goddamn, this is just one all over again. It's obvious he must be going under the effects of the castle, so Riku must only remember the bad memories of him and Sora. I don't know. Moving on. After seeing Peter Pan be more of a dick, like actually holy shit, he actually just abandons Wendy, we then meet Riku again, and he even goes on about more delusions about how he forgot everything else and that he only cares about one thing, protecting Naminé, except Sorry, he's just reminding me of the whole Shrek is love, Shrek is life creepy copypasta. Sora's like,
I'll jog your memory. Go ahead and try.
after beating him, Riku runs away and goes up more in the castle after visiting a place called Hollow Bastion. Never heard of this place before. There's just fucking nothing. We then cut back to the Robe Gang, and Antenna Bitch teases Vexen about his Riku acting cowardly and just dragging Sora deeper into the castle. The leader of this hashtag group, the one who met Sora at the beginning in those fields, shows up, and his name is Marluxia. He agrees with everyone that Vexen's plan is basically crap, but he gives him one more chance to redeem himself. Axel thinks that teasing Vexen like this will really want him to kill Sora, and then Pretty Boy over here brings out the fucking Thesaurus. He then asks Naminé, who's been sitting there the whole time with the Robe Gang, to remember a promise that she made to Sora. As the trio are commenting that they reached the 10th floor, Sora goes on to remember a promise that he made with Naminé. After doing a lot, well, I wouldn't say pointless minigames, but I do like the change of pace. I mean, honestly, they're a bit of a step up from the first game's poo minigames. Sora and the gang meet Vexen. He goes on about how he's the reason that Sora and Riku met in the first place in the castle, and then the two battle. Man, this fight is surprisingly, easy, but, still challenging. I figured out his weakness is just lightning instead of fire. I don't know about that. After the fight, Vexen reveals that he was delving deep into Sora's memories and managed to grab something and construct it into a card, based off another side of Sora's memories. Hey, as long as it's deep jungle, it's fine. Boy howdy, it ain't deep jungle. This is all your fault! Anyways, if you're familiar with the routine, we cut back to the emo group, and Marluxia states that Vexen has basically betrayed them and asked Axel to eliminate the traitor. As we approach the door, we really do question what Vexen said. Another side of Sora's memories? Or his heart? I don't know, however you want to put it. Okay, everyone, so now we're done with all that filler shit, even though I still don't know how it's possible to create filler in a video game, but it's technically done now. Kind of. We still have to do the RPG battles. We open the door and find ourselves in a nice, humble little world called Twilight Town. God, I miss doing that. But I do want to take a minute to talk about the game's, or the world's music, because honestly, it's a great theme. It's a nice, calming, soothing, peaceful music that, honestly, it sounds like something you would hear in, like, a lo-fi track. Now, I'm not saying that okay, it gives also some moments of nostalgia, and I'm not saying it gives off moments of nostalgia because, I played this on the PS2 as a kid, but it's a nice comfort feeling, and if I were a music director, I would say it gives off the vibe of a nice sense of a home that you recognize. And the battle music is fun, jittery, and it fits the scenario for the world. Like, I don't know, instead of just battling dark creatures, it fits the theme of like a school fight in a school ground. But honestly, yeah, no, this world's theme and music and scenery, it feels nice. But that's enough reminiscing. I'm not a music professor. Getting back to the story, Sora comments about how he made a promise to Naminé. One night, when a meteor shower was happening, Naminé was scared that a meteor would hit the island. And Sora's like, nah, man, I'm gonna swing it right back, just like in Mario Sluggers for the GameCube. And that's when they made the promise, and Naminé gave Sora the good luck charm, and Sora retrospectively feels bad about that memory, mainly because, he forgot about her. Moving through Twilight Town, we reach an old mansion. Sora explains that he's starting to have feelings throughout his time in Twilight Town that he feels like he's been here before, but he knows that he hasn't been here before. More so in the fact that, like, he was there once, but not in the sense that he was there. And that's a rough way of saying it, Jesus Christ. Vexen then shows up and asks Sora a question, a personal question, not about the chalk zone.
I'm gonna touch your titty.
Don't touch its titty!
He asks him of which memories feel more real, the memories of Naminé or the memories of Twilight Town. Sora then starts to cope and saying that this is just another one of Vexen's tricks, but Vexen says he has nothing to hide. Vexen then explains that if Sora is remaining bound to the chain— Sit the fuck down! Then Sora should remain bound to the chain of memories. He'll be nothing more than a puppet, similar to the Riku that Vexen created. Sora gets pissed, realizing the Riku is the way he is because of Vexen, and the two fight once more. And this fight is honestly much better. It still offers more challenge, Plus, Vexen gets a brand new slate where literally he starts charging at you with a giant ice blade. But I will admit, it's still fun to, you know, try and dodge his attacks, and you're still able to have some sense of control and have a chance of, you know, taking control of the fight. But, I still think it's a good fight, and it's a great way of introducing a secondary fight, you know, when you're fighting someone. That was a poor way of saying that, but I hope that makes sense. After the fight, Sora asks Vexen to put Riku back the way he was. Vexen says he can't do that because he's not real, but Sora's obviously not listening. But also brings up that if Sora continues down the path he's going on, he'll end up becoming the pawn of Marluxia. Then Axel shows up and kills Vexen.
No! Please don't! I don't want it!
Goodbye.
We go back to the Robe Dome emo hangout spot, and they decide it's finally time for Sora to meet Naminé. We then exit Twilight Town and see Riku is still under the control, or a Riku that's not real, still doesn't care about Sora, and I don't know anymore. So look, Riku is not real, but he still wants to kill Sora. Anyways, Riku then comments about how one night he made a promise to Naminé. One night when a meteor shower was happening, she was scared that a meteor would hit the island. And Riku was like, nah man, I'm gonna swing it right back, just like in Mario Sluggers for the GameCube. They then made a promise, and Naminé gave... wait a minute. Sora, Riku, I think something ain't right here. Well, I mean, Sora is not lying, I guess. He was given the good luck charm. Anyway, to finish off Riku's misinformation, he then made a promise and pulls out with Naminé with a toy sword, and Naminé gave him the good luck. What the fuck?
Fake should be destroyed!
So it's time to battle Riku again, and it's the same shtick as before, only a tiny bit harder. After Riku drops the lucky charm, he then runs away, and the good luck charm that's fake turns into a world card for Destiny Islands. Moving on to the next foot, Donald and Goofy. Where the fuck you guys at? Donald and Goofy start wondering what's going on and how can Riku and Sora have the same memory. Sora says to drop it and that they have to keep moving. Donald and Goofy start to question Sora's attitude, as well as how he's suddenly starting to care so much for Naminé and get touchy about her whenever she's brought up, despite the fact he only remembered her a few floors ago. It doesn't even make sense to them, especially Goofy, and this is Goofy we're talking about. Sora then proceeds to get super pissed and runs off without Donald and Goofy. We cut back to the emo hideout and Axel, and basically Axel gaslights Naminé into running off to help Sora and stopping this madness. Jiminy tries to speak his mind, but Sora's like, shut up, you never show up in any of these games. On to the next world. After going through except it's in the daytime. Find Sora meeting his friends, and they're all talking about how he's always on about him and Naminé and how they are so perfect for each other. We also find Riku, and as soon as we find him, the island gets under attack. We go to find Naminé and protect her. Once again, Destiny Islands reaches its climax of being destroyed, and then Darkseid shows up. And surprisingly, I'm not going to lie, I think the fight here is honestly the hardest Darkseid fight we'll ever get. I mean it's still easy, but like, I think this is the hardest it's ever actually been. Or who knows, maybe that my mind will change later on. After we beat him, Naminé finally shows up. Sora is so happy to see her, but Naminé then declines and tells Sora that she's not meant to be a part of this picture. Sora then starts to cope, saying that Naminé is real, that every memory that they had of her and him were real. But Naminé then asks Sora to look again at the good luck charm and remember who is the most important to him. Sora then looks at the good luck charm and answers the question that it's obviously Naminé, but then the good luck charm changes back to a different good luck charm. And Naminé changes into a form of a girl that has short hair and it's red. Pondering what just happened and who that girl was, we then leave Destiny Islands. Naminé tells Sora, who we meet at the other back inside Castle Oblivion's hallways, that the most important person to Sora is not her, and it's that girl with red hair. Sora then asks why he can't remember her, but then Riku, or fake Riku, shows up again and is like, Shrek is love! Shrek is life, Sora! Also that his memories are actually a train wreck and that he should be destroyed because his memories keep getting in the way of Riku and Naminé's relationship or whatever. After we battle Riku one more time, and you can tell this is the last time because he has a weird glowy hand. We go up to him, and Riku just blasts us away, and then Namine shatters fake Riku's heart. Larxene then shows up and explains to Sora that Riku was never here. Or was he? Larxene is very pissed that their plans are now ruined and is ready to kill Sora and Namine, but then the goats show up.
You're going down alone!
What if we can stop you?
Huh? Donald! Goofy! You found me!
Of course we did. We were worried about you.
And we promised that we would protect you.
You won't ever be alone. It's always been the three of us, and we stick together.
And that is how it's going to stay.
Donald and Goofy are ready to help us fight Larxene, but to be fair, this doesn't help because this fight's awful. Yeah, no, Larxene's second fight is the kind of like I think one of the most hated in this game. I don't blame him. Like, honestly, it really feels like the AI is going hyper speed on the fucking reaction time. She does get new slates, which are easy to dodge or whatever, but dear God, it feels like the AI is like spamming these cards out, like out the wazoo. But yeah, no. After some trial and error and a lot of screaming, we finally got it done. After defeating Larxene, Sora and Namine finally get a chance to speak, as well as Donald and Goofy. And Namine explains that all of Sora's memories have been fake, all down to the promise that the two of them made that one night on Destiny Islands. But Sora tells her not to cry about, you know, being alone and stuff. Even though the memories of her and him are not real, he'll still do everything he can to stop Marluxia from having his way. With Marluxia being the last organization member to stop, technically, we make our way up to the castle. As we do, Sora tries to ponder who is the most important to him, but nothing comes up. But that's when the Goofy the Goat decides to come up with an idea to make a promise between the three of them that no matter what happens, they'll all be friends no matter what. And so we move on ahead and enter Castle Oblivion. Alright, let me quickly check the map, and oh my goodness! The hell? Like, Jesus Christ, I know it's the final area and everything, but God, did you have to put that many rooms there? Probably a good time to also mention that, I didn't have any time cards, because I didn't unlock it back in Wonderland, so I had to go all the way back, find a chest room, and basically unlock the time card. But by doing that, you know, I had to restart everything in Castle Oblivion. And the worst part is, I think around 17 or 18 rooms in. So I had to restart all that progress. But yeah, no, that's a little bit, ass-swipey or whatever. Like, I get it. Like, the whole point of the game is, like, it's a dungeon crawler. And if you leave the world, you know, you gotta restart the progress. But, I mean, considering we're on a more modern version, it would have helped to add like a quality of life improvement by, I don't know, making it so that the rooms still save instead of having to repeat the progress and, you know, miss out on getting all that XP just so that you can reach up back to a certain point. I'm just saying. Anyways, we make it to the room where the Robe Trio have been hanging out the whole time, and we figure out what's going on. Before Sora and the gang arrive, a black cloak figure appears behind Namine. Next, we figure out that it's actually Marluxia. And Axel appears in the robe hangout spot, or whatever you want to call it, and confronts Marluxia. He goes on to explain how marvelous his plan was to try and make Sora his puppet through Namine and rewriting his memories, and using the two kids or teenagers, or whatever floats your boat, so that they could be used to overthrow the organization that we have no idea. Ignore it, Kingdom Hearts. Classifying him as a traitor, Marluxia starts to wonder when the hell he was suspicious of them. Not to mention, he's surprised that he killed a fellow member in order to obtain said information. And then the two bring out their weapons and prepare to fight each other. As they are battling, Marluxia then brings out Namine as a hostage. Sora then enters the room and is ready to challenge Axel. Nice job, man. You're really avoiding the puppet allegations. Anyways, Axel's second fight is actually surprisingly easy. You know, I mean, there is still some challenge to it, and, you know, it's a little bit hard to do, but it's not Larxene levels of bad. It's still a good fight. After we beat him, Axel just pieces out. Moving deeper into Castle Oblivion, we finally reach the end of the area of Castle Oblivion. I've got to stop this stupid-ass dramatic dialogue. We finally confront him holding Naminé hostage. Then Marluxia commands Naminé to erase Sora's memory. But by doing that, it will destroy his heart. I don't think that's how it works, but you know what? Let's just go with it for suspense. Sora goes off being like, I don't need a memory to beat someone like Marluxia. Sora, for the love of God, I am not battling this bastard on level 1. You're not doing this to me, man. Also, I know Naminé's like a scared little girl and stuff, but like, what's to stop her from like refusing? Like, she'll be killed, but you know, it's kind of an ultimatum. You know, you kill her, you can't use Sora and stuff, and your whole plan's kind of ruined. So I'm just saying, like, if Naminé just refused at the beginning, I feel like we could have avoided this entire situation. But, I mean, who knows? Imitation Riku then shows up and explains that even though all his memories are fake, he'll still keep one of them to him, and that is to protect Naminé. Marluxia then asks Sora and Riku that they would risk their lives for a chain of memories born of lies. Look, man, I don't really like this game that much, but to be fair, it's actually pretty good, so you know what? Why not? Let's risk our lives for it. And so our battle with him begins, and I am gonna be honest, this is kind of one of the easiest fights, I'm not gonna lie. Like, most of this stuff is kind of just easily set up for, like, Sora to be able to counter him easily, but I don't know, I feel like you would expect something like this at, like, the beginning, or, like, with one of the earlier bosses, not, like, with the final boss. I feel like the final boss would be more, you know, intent on trying to have high priority and keeping his cards on the table, instead of giving Sora a lot of opportunities to, like, counter him. I don't know, I just feel like it's a really easy boss. Also, why isn't Riku joining us? I mean, it's kind of heavily implied that he would help us, but I guess not. I mean, you know, considering there's like a re-release, they could have, you know, added it in to add more of like a chain of memories kind of situation, or, you know, give it the final mix treatment. What do I know? But even though the fight's really easy, it's still pretty fun, honestly. I mean, he still has like one move where, like, he literally forces you to try and counter him before the clock hits 0. But I will admit that was kind of the only shining moment out of his fight. Anyways, after we beat him, it's good to finally know it's all over.
You could say that. However, what you destroyed was merely an illusion of me.
Of course not. Of course, this is the finale, so obviously that isn't the end, and he's actually hiding behind that door, and he's trying to destroy Sora's heart. I don't know, I'm going off what the dialogue says. Anyway, just like in every Kingdom Hearts game, we're asked one more time if we're ready to enter through, and you say yes, and we enter through the door. Okay, since we're at the end of the game, let's actually talk about it and my thoughts of the whole thing. While I do think there are a lot of positives to this game, I will admit, during my replay through of this game, yeah, there are a lot more negatives than I realize. Well, now I realize them. I think the RPG mechanics and the whole card system is honestly something that I've never really seen done in a video game before. That might be a lie, of course, and there's probably a game that does use this card system very well, but it's the first time I've ever seen someone use like a card system in the way that Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories does. But man, you can really tell this game was only made for the Game Boy. And I really think the game honestly missed the opportunity to help fix and modernize, or at least add more quality of life improvements to Chain of Memories' combat and stuff. Like, at best, all they did was just give Goofy the freaking a better level 1 attack, where instead of just charging, he just spins around and stuff. And that's kind of it. Mostly, like, I feel like there could have been more opportunities to add much more better quality of life improvements. Like, it would have been better if, like, if there were new map cards that offered, you know, more XP for enemies, or like a sort of gamble system where, like, if you want to get more XP, you challenge more enemies. I know that there are some cards that do that, but I'm meaning, like, you know, more different types of ways to earn XP, like, you know, complete certain challenges in certain rooms or stuff like that. I don't know. Just a way to increase the XP grab, but, I mean, to be fair, I think the XP system's okay at best. I'm just saying there could be ways to improve it. But mainly, it mostly comes down to the Moogle shop. Mainly it's currency. The only way to earn it is mainly through, obviously, smacking objects and stuff. But I feel like it could have been improved much more further. Like, if you have extra friend cards lying around, how about it gives you a boost or gives you extra P Moogle orbs? Or hell, just make Moogle orbs drop from Heartless, or at least stronger Heartless. Instead of, like, you know, the only way of getting them from Heartless is you have to basically hit them with certain friend cards, like Peter Pan or Aladdin. Instead of doing this tacky bullshit where you're basically just going like, oh, no Moogle orbs? Oh well, gotta try again. Not to mention, there's also the premium cards. Like, I get their mechanic, but I feel like they should have had a bit more of a price increasement. Not to mention, I feel like you should get more for a premium card, depending on, like, the higher the rarity of the Keyblade. I don't know, that's just my thought of it, but as for the shop itself, I feel like it would have been better to also include a page where you could also buy a specific sort of card instead of just, you know, just doing nothing but loot boxes. I don't know, that's just... I don't know, that sounds more quality of life improving to this game. But yeah, if it's not obvious, I mean, this game was kind of made after Kingdom Hearts 2, and it's mostly just a rehash of a lot of animations used from the first game to just help and rebuild the game. But as for the slates themselves, while they are still good, half the time they just come down to just using the meta ones like Lethal Frame and Tornado. And then there's Holy, of course. I don't know, it just feels like it turned into like a slogfest of just going through and just doing the same attacks over and over again. But to be fair, that's like most RPGs, so unless you're into that kind of stuff, like let's say if you grew up with the Pokemon series, that's kind of how it means. Like, you have to grow up with this kind of game in order to enjoy it. Not to say that anyone outside of the game, outside of, like, you know, not trying this game out as a kid means you won't find any enjoyment of it. I'm sure you will find enjoyment in the game. But I will admit, there is it's a major turnoff that half of the battle, that like 90 or like 80% of the game is just going to be going through the same battle type mechanics of, oh, take care of this wave of Heartless, and then there might be an extra wave of Heartless. I don't know, that just kind of like ruins all pacing. It's literally just the same shit over and over again. And I feel like that could have been improved a lot more by, like, you know, adding either more different Heartless to go through. No, okay, not just that. Okay, no, not that all the time. Just more so in the fact of, like, making the combat a little more fun or something. I'm not sure. To change up the pacing. Instead of just having the same battle over and over. But as for the story, I'm gonna be honest, half of the story doesn't really even matter that much. Like, I get it, the memory stuff, all the stuff in between, like, what we're talking, like, stuff between that happens in Castle Oblivion, with Sora meeting the Rogue Trio and stuff, that's all fine. The issue mainly comes down with all the filler stuff. Like I said before, I don't know how they did it, but they managed to create filler in a video game by basically adding portions of the game that just don't matter. And I think that says it for itself with the game. Like, you can play the world cards in any order, and it won't really matter that much to the plot. Now, do I want the worlds to connect with the main story? No, I'm not saying that. Although technically they do, but we'll get into that later. I'm mainly saying is just that at the time, the point of rehashing the same worlds made sense, which was to, you know, make kids experience the Kingdom Hearts 1 game, but, you know, on a handheld device. But I feel like this choice to go back and recreate the game so that there's a physical or a more advanced way to play it on a console kind of bites on the ass of, like, the fucking storytelling, because you have to go through the same mid-story plot that's just the same plot from the first game, just rehashed into a new kind of plot that's related around memories. I don't know, that just kind of ruins it, and kind of makes it hard to get into Kingdom Hearts when there are literally like 3 and... oh my god, I can't say. It makes it hard to get into the series for newcomers, because literally you have to play through the game that takes place between the 2 games, and it's just a rehash of most of the stuff that was in the first game. That's what kind of makes it hard to get into the series, and I can understand why people don't want to, and why people just choose to just watch the cutscenes instead of just actually playing the game. But yeah, no, that's kind of all I got to say about the series. Who knows, maybe someday in the future, just like with all the other Kingdom Hearts fan community projects, someone might come to Chain of Memories and look for a way to try and fix a lot of the issues that the game has, and try and help add quality of life improvements to it. Do I think that'll ever happen? Maybe one day if someone's that passionate enough and has the tools at hand, but at the moment, this is kind of all we got to work. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Sorry for the long yap session, so let's head straight to the final boss. We enter through and confront Marluxia.
Soon the emptiness will shatter your heart. Here in this world of nothingness. As lightless oblivion devours you, drown in the ever-blooming darkness!
You know, for someone being ranked 11 in the organization, I'm surprised this man's able to do this shit. So we fight Marluxia in this fused thing that he's in, but it's surprisingly easy. Like, on Proud Mode, it's like in the highest difficulty. Like, the dude's deck is literally just either low value cards or the occasional high value one, but I mean, you don't even need to like counter him with your cards. You can literally just dodge out of the way. I mean, I guess you have to confront him with cards when he does like his little skydive move, but other than that, I mean, this is easier than the fight before with him. Like, I'm not even kidding. And I'm pretty sure like his one move where he literally blocks out your card's vision so that you can't see what deck you're playing. That's like the most easiest countable one. If you still get hit by that, like, skill issue, like, for real. Anyway, so we destroy his 2 blades, then we destroy the body itself. We can do this really easily with lethal frame, because for some reason the range on that thing is super high. After we defeat this phase, we then cut to the next oh my god, how are you rank 11 in the organization? Anyways, Marluxia basically has this giant-ass fucking stand, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, this is like a biblical as fuck Kingdom Hearts enemy design. The fight itself is even more easier than the last one. I mean, for me at least, I have the time card, so I'm able to pull a lot of lethal frames. But the cards he plays, like I said before, are low value, and that's not really an issue. And also, some of his new attacks, once again, they're easily either blockable or easily dodgeable. Like, I mean, even for his gimmick attacks, like one where he literally freezes you and you have to counter all his cards. Like, you can just spam all your cards and you'll just be able to counter him. Or even the one where, I think the only challenging one is like the one where he literally blows your cards away, but even then, that move is easily dodgeable. So, this is like, I mean, it's still a hype as hell fight. I mean, it's still pretty cool, but like, the fight itself is kind of just really easy. Like, if you actually die here, I mean, how did you let that happen? But yeah, no, I mean, this is kind of an easy fight, even on Proud Mode. But either way, we're still struggling, so we're gonna have to call for a little bit of help.
This is the heart of a hero.
After that, Marluxia then explodes, just like any Kingdom Hearts villain does, and Sora walks away. Is he walking on air? How the f— After which, we close the door, making sure Marluxia doesn't come out, even though he's exploding. Okay, I guess better safe than sorry. Sora then asks Fake Riku if he's going to be okay with the whole memory thing. Fake Riku then says he'll manage, and walks away. But Sora gives him one last friendly reminder that who cares who he is. He's his own person, and he has to live life his own way. Riku, or Fake Riku, tells him that he's a good guy, and this is probably the last we'll see of him. Naminé then goes on to explain that our memories are basically similar to a chain. She doesn't say the title, the guys, thank God. She goes on to explain that the source of our memories are still inside him, but the links for them are unchained, so it will take some time to reach, find them, and put them back together. Of course, this will mean that Sora will not remember his time at Castle Oblivion or the events that transpired throughout Chain of Memories. Okay, so for this explanation, I tried looking up for like a good reasoning as to why, because honestly, it kind of doesn't make sense that Naminé was able to create memories, but she couldn't, you know, create memories of Chain of Memories. You know, want to just place them after Kingdom Hearts 1. And, you know, it didn't make sense why she didn't do that, so I tried to think of a good explanation. I even did some research on it, and I think I found a good explanation on Reddit that kind of explains it. Yes, I know it's Reddit. Okay, relax. Anyways, here's the explanation. Since the memories themselves need to be put back into the correct order, which includes Sora's adventure throughout the other worlds. Remember all those filler worlds that we had to go through and I was talking about? Well, earlier, surprisingly, those do play a role because those worlds were recreated from Sora's memories, meaning that they were taken out of Sora's original memories that they belonged to. And without them, Sora could not regain his old memories. Considering that we had to experience all the previous worlds all over again, it made sense it was going to take some time for Naminé to put them all back together. Not to mention, Naminé could create the memories of Chain of Memories and put them at the end of Sora's old memories, but most likely due to a certain organization, she probably didn't have the time to recreate the Chain of Memories of Chain of Memories. Anyways, shout out to this guy on Reddit for the explanation, and I guess it kind of makes sense. But to be fair, it's not really explained by the official creator, so who the hell knows why Naminé can't do it? Maybe she's just too lazy. Anyways, Naminé takes us to a Fabergé egg and tells us we need to sleep inside that for now, while Naminé fixes Sora, Donald, and Goofy's memories. Although Donald and Goofy get thrown into like some poor class pod instead of this giant ass pod. Anyways, Donald and Goofy get ready to go to sleep, and Sora and Naminé have one last conversation. Naminé was glad to have met Sora, and she says goodbye, but Sora says that this isn't over, and that when he wakes up, he'll come and find Naminé, and they'll be friends for real. Naminé says that he'll forget making that promise, but Sora retorts saying that if the Chain of Memories comes apart, the links will still be there, and that the promise that they made will be somewhere inside of Sora. They then pinky promise, and Sora hops in the egg. Naminé tells Sora to remember the one that's important to Sora, and he'll remember everything. Not to mention, the lucky charm that he had changed back into the form that we remembered from the first game when Sora thought of who was most important to him. That wasn't Naminé doing that. Sora thinks carefully in his thoughts and tries to remember the people that he forgot, but he then thinks of the girl with red hair and finally remembers her name.
Kairi! My friends. Naminé?
Don't worry. You might forget about me. But with our promise, I can come back.
A promise is a promise.
Yes. One day the light, it will be ours and it will bring us together. Till then, I'll be in your heart.
Right. Forgotten, but not lost.
After the credits are rolling, we do get a few small snippets of cutscenes in between the credits. We see one of Kairi looking at the islands, one of Riku Replica seeing Axel, and another one of a mysterious blonde kid in Twilight Town. And that's the end of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Whew, finally. I'm glad that's over. Can I just go home? Just like in the GBA part, there's another mode of the game called Reverse Rebirth, where you play as Riku, and I'm not going to give you the time and day to look. I think it's fun game mode and stuff. I like how he plays, and I'll explain everything in a minute. So let's just run through the story, alright? We've been here long enough. Alright, so we start the game and my game just crashed. After closing the door to Kingdom Hearts, Riku wakes up in the middle of somewhere, and we hear a voice who is definitely not Billy Zane. Where the fuck is he, Square? He offers Riku a card to see the truth, or he can go back to sleep. Riku obviously takes the card and spawns in the basement of Castle Oblivion. Somehow. And our journey begins at the bottom of the castle. Still don't know how the structure of this place even works. Anyways, our first card takes us to Hollow Bastion, which makes sense since this is technically where he started off when he left Destiny Islands. Anyways, after we traverse through, we find Maleficent, and we also find the room that Maleficent stayed in. We get a little bit of exposition and lore on Riku's time in Maleficent's care. We then beat up Maleficent and leave Hollow Bastion. We didn't figure out who that voice is who's talking to us, but after we leave, we figure out it's Ansem. He's not dead. Also, what happened to your voice? Where the hell is my submit? Anyway, we try to defeat Ansem and he deflects us. We then tried to fight him, and we get a tutorial on how to fight and learning how Riku's playstyle works. After that tutorial, Ansem says we're weak, and he pisses out, and not before giving us another world card. Moving on, we then cut to wherever the hell this is, in the basement emo hangout, I guess. And here we meet Zexion and Lexius, other members of the organization. They have a meeting with Vexen. Zexion comments that he's detecting a smell at the bottom level of the castle. One is maleficent, and the other is similar to their superior. His words, not mine. We cut back to Riku, as he's also able to smell darkness itself. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it real quick here. For some reason, this side one has a whole thing about being able to smell darkness. I don't know who was in charge of writing for this game, but they bring it up a lot. It's never brought up again as to why Riku's able to do that, or in any other game. It's just a weird thing that honestly, you could have just said was done, like, you know, with energy sensing, you know, being able to sense the darkness. I mean, Sora was able to sense Marluxia trying to destroy his heart, but what the fuck is this whole smelling thing about? I can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 4, where Riku has to smell Sora in order to find him. Anyways, Mauska shows up, and he's like, you gotta fight the darkness. And he peaces out. He's not fully here. He's still finding his way over here. Anyways, we have a card to access him, so let's just tackle how Riku plays. Instead of having the whole card system and being able to create your own decks and stuff, this time, in the side mode, all our cards are preset every time we enter a new world. Not only is our reload speed also just instant, instead of having to do whole reload every 3 times, we also have a mechanic where we can duel someone if they play the same card as us, allowing us to create slates if we manage to deflect all their cards. As for healing, we can't do any of that, as we have to rely on Mickey's friend card in order to heal. But we can also use his friend card to create our own slates where we work together with Mickey. Overall, it's a pretty fun side mode, and it adds a lot of challenge to Riku's side of the story. As for other mechanics, the Dark Point, every time you deflect a Heartless, you build up DP points in your meter. Once it's built up all the way, you'll fully activate your Darkness, allowing you to perform more combos and perform slates without having to do the whole duel system. But your duels are also much more stronger. You can lose the form, though, depending on how many times you get hit, but you can also upgrade it and, you know, earn more DP points to have more hit points so that you can last longer in your Darkness form. And that's how Riku plays. Overall, it's a nice change of pace. Anyways, after Monstro, the Rogue Trio figures out that it's Riku who they smell, and that also Marluxia might be planning to betray the organization. After Neverland, we then confront Vexen, who's waiting for us. He goes on to explain that he is working for Ansem, but he's technically not Ansem. Maybe a nobody would suggest it all. I'm not doing the stupid voice. Anyways, after we battle him, he then goes on to say that he has collected great data, and then pieces out. After Agrabah, Zexion comments on how Vexen's making his Riku replica right now. After Traverse Town, yeah, I know it was that quickly, I know. We meet fake Riku, and so we have to battle him. After we battle him, he then says that he's all brand new and it doesn't count, so he runs away like a little bitch. Back at the emo basement, Vexen thinks about using fake Riku on Sora. After Under the Sea, we get the cutscene earlier where Riku made his first appearance, except we figure out that Riku, or fake Riku, had his memory rewritten by force, which makes sense as to why the fake Riku is acting like a prick to Sora. Anyways, after Larxene and Naminé have a small discussion. Larxene comments about how impressive it is that Naminé is able to change objects as well to fit the memories, but Naminé retorts saying that Sora will still remember Kairi, and that the more that she tries to suppress his memory of Kairi, the stronger his affection for her will come, or care for her. You get the point. And this is all due to the fact that Naminé is Kairi's shadow. What does that mean? We'll have to wait for the next game. After This is Halloween, pumpkin scream in the dead of night, Riku comments that he has only got one card left. This is Halloween, pumpkin scream in the dead of night. After Riku meets Lexius, he wants Riku to let the darkness out and embrace him. Wait, no, sorry, I wrote that wrong. The two fight, and it's pretty much a decent fight. The whole gimmick of him being able to boost his power is kind of cool, but I don't think it did that well in this game. Anyways, after the fight, Ryu gets ground pounded, and the darkness gets out, and basically Riku one-shots Lexius. In the middle of Riku's subconscious, I guess, Riku gets almost possessed by Ansem, and then Mickey Mouse comes to save him with a bit of light. We cut back to the dome basement. Zexion and Axel are having a conversation about how Marluxia is probably going to die soon, and Zexion asks Axel for data on Riku and Sora's home. Wait a minute, so are the cards data or memories? Wait, which is... We cut back to Riku, and the castle starts shaking, and apparently Riku can smell Marluxia from the fucking what the hell? Zexion then comments that Riku is too slow and that the final boss has already been beaten. He then gives Riku the Destiny Islands card. After Riku gets confronted with Zexion again, while still in Destiny Islands, he goes on to say that Riku is the reason their home is gone. Well, technically was gone. And then Riku turns in the dark side. After that fight, we then find Sora, who tries to beat the shit out of us and then shoots us with a light beam and acts surprised. Like, motherfucker, what were you expecting would happen? Sora then sees that Riku is now a being of the darkness and can't let him live anymore and proceeds to basically blow him and Riku up. Suddenly, Kairi then speaks to us in a weird light void and explains that you can live in both, the light and dark, and use both to your advantage. Riku then is able to channel his power and cut right through Zexion's illusion. Also thanks to Zexion's smell, of fucking course. Does anyone in this series, like, even take a shower? Anyways, we battle Zexion, and his whole gimmick is that he can take our cards and use them against us. But we have a chance of getting them back by defeating these book pillar things, and yeah, it's a pretty fun fight, and very interesting, and related to his character about books. Nerd! After the fight, Zexion comes back to the Nerd Dome basement, and sees Axel and Riku there. He gets the idea of using the fake Riku to kill the real Riku, but Axel then gaslights fake Riku into wanting to be real, and by taking someone else's power instead of the real Riku's. And then he proceeds to take Zexion's power and disintegrate him. This is a kid's series, right? Ansem then technically shows up again inside Riku's head and takes control of his body, only for Mickey Mouse to show up, and this time he's actually here. We use the next world card, and we're in Twilight Town. Oh my god, why is it so big? As we arrive, Ansem shows up, and it's finally time for us to battle, except Riku can tell that this Ansem is not the real Ansem. His smell is different. God damn it, this again. He then changes appearances to a robed man named Diz. He figures out that Ansem, or some of the Ansems that he's been seeing, were actually just this man disguised as Ansem to help him, you know, make his way throughout the castle. Diz goes on to explain that he's here to help Riku make a choice. After that, we then get told to meet someone named Naminé by Diz, and so we make our way to the mansion. Once we arrive, we then meet fake Riku again. He goes on to explain that no matter what person he absorbs power from, it'll always be the same. He can never escape the real Riku's shadow, and so we battle him. Okay, first off, brother, you absorbed the power from someone who literally absorbed power from Riku. What were you expecting? After the fight, fake Riku goes on to ask where a person like him will go after he dies, and then that part got written into the fucking ESRB review when they were reviewing the game's age rating. Anyways, fake Riku pieces out. After that, we finally meet Naminé in the egg room. Naminé goes on to explain the events of Chain of Memories and proceeds to ask Riku to make a choice for him. Even though his memories are not messed up like Sora's, Naminé can help Riku with his darkness and help put a lock on Ansem and make sure that he never escapes again. Of course, that would mean Riku would forget everything that happened during his time in the castle, but Riku declines and says that he'd rather fight Ansem. And he knows that it was Naminé disguised as Kairi in that light void that helped him find his way and use the darkness and light to his advantage. Mainly due to the fact that they smell the same. God, what the... That's... Who the fuck greenlit the idea of Riku being able to smell darkness or fucking people's scents? He also states that Sora's being a lazy bum and he should have been taking care of Kairi, but is here taking a nap, and that he's the one who had to do most of the work on the raft. You goddamn son of a bitch! I swear to God, when I get out of here, I'm gonna kick your ass! After leaving Twilight Town, Diz is waiting for us, asking Riku for his help to believe him. Or so he quotes. He also gives Riku and Mickey some ropes to join the emo gang, or to more likely stay hidden away from them from their sight, as well as a card for Riku to finally confront Ansem in his heart and finally defeat him. Keyword finally. Right before entering, Riku says he has to do this alone, and Well, he still has the friend cards. I don't know, if that counts, but whatever. And so Riku enters Castle Oblivion. Thankfully, it's only 3 rooms. Anyways, Ansem and Riku have a nice chat before fighting. Ansem says they're similar in a way, and Riku says he smells, and they fight. And overall, his fight is, like, okay. I mean, there's no gimmick or anything with the cards or anything. It's just a normal-ass fight. Riku slashes down Ansem and is able to defeat him, but says that he will not be gone, and that he will find a way to return. Despite him, blowing up.
Sora. Kairi.
Gosh, Riku, I know you wanted to do this alone, but you don't mind getting a little help, do ya?
As they're about to leave through the door, Mickey comments on how he used to think that darkness is something that shouldn't have ever existed. But Riku showed him that darkness and light can exist in the same person. We then cut to a scene in the middle of the night, in the same patchy grass field that Sora and the group were. Ironic that they started their journey here, and Riku and Mickey's journey ends here. Anyways, we meet Diz at a 4-way cross path.
What are you making me choose now?
Between the road to light and the road to darkness.
Neither suits me. I'm taking the middle road.
Do you mean the twilight road to nightfall?
No. It's the road to dawn.
I think this game inspired that whole title drop shit where you say something iconic and it's supposed to tease the sequel. Bruh. Same as last time, we then cut to some cutscenes at the end of the credits. We see Mickey and Riku walking as Riku collapsed on the floor for a quick second, but then gets back up. As for where they are, it looks somewhat familiar, but I just can't place my finger on it. We then see the same blonde-haired kid. This time, he's with Axel, except he looks like he doesn't seem to notice Axel there. Odd. We then cut to the Egg and Diz and Naminé as another figure approaches wearing a black robe, and it looks like he's Riku, but he's older? Well, everyone, that was Chain of Memories Reverse Rebirth. And technically, that is the whole game itself. That was the entirety of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, or Chain of Memories if you want to call it that. But yeah, that was the end of the game. Overall, I do understand why people don't usually try to take a look at this game, and I can understand why the mechanics do feel a bit sluggish. And that's a real shame of the series. Like, I do see the Chain of Memories having great potential to have better mechanics and stuff. There could have been a lot of potential to help modernize it more and make it much better instead of just using the rehashes of shit that they had from the first game and just implementing it into making a whole different game. There could have been a lot more work done to make the Chain of Memories much better and live up to the quality that the final mix ports do. But like I said, maybe someone in the future could do that. But as for now, I mean, if you want to get into the game, the bad stuff isn't really going to stop you, but it will feel sluggish throughout the journey. But overall, it was fun going back to take a look at both these games, and you know, these games do play their role in setting up the next game that is Kingdom Hearts 2. So, until then, I mean, that's going to be it for now. So yeah, hope everybody enjoyed, and hopefully we can take all this new knowledge that we've learned and take it on to the next game. How long were you there for? Well, anyways, you kind of came in a bad time, dude. I mean, seriously. Oh shoot, I just realized it's December. I should have worn my Christmas hat. Where did I even put that thing? What the? What the fuck is this gas? Yeah. Beyond the path without you is a forgotten promise to keep. We may have walked side by side, but now we go on, back to back. And though our paths may not cross, all paths are connected somewhere. When I arrive at where you are, we may not appear to be as we were, but we'll make another promise to keep.